My people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Qatar FC. We are within for the first video since we hit 700 on YouTube. Thank y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for trusting me with my opinion on football and sharing your opinions. Of course, that's what matters. I'm grateful to y'all. If you're watching on TikTok, there's a lot of videos that you're missing on YouTube. So I'd like to implore you to join the YouTube fam and you won't miss anything because I'm only posting pre-match content and post-match content on TikTok at the moment, whilst YouTube gets everything. You get me? So we move, guys. I'd like us to touch on an interview. Qatar Economic Forum. Todd Boehly sat in the hot seat, and for 7 minutes, he actually answered questions on our beloved Chelsea as our chairman. The few highlighted points, the highlights of the interview for me are that he seems to understand we need a striker.
Do you want to increase your role at Chelsea?
My role? I think chairman's a pretty good one. I can't play. Or maybe I'll go out as striker, see how the fans think about that.
Are you saying you understand that Nicholas Jackson has brought us headaches, Mr. Todd Boehly? If so, please rectify, sir. Fix, invest, as he would put it.
We're not looking at it as a spend. We look at it as an investment.
Second point is that Andre Santos will return to Chelsea.
We have some players that are joining us for the Club World Cup that weren't on the team. So, Andre Santos is coming from Strasbourg. We're really excited about him and what we think he can add to the squad.
Todd Boehly's been watching Strasbourg. He understands that Santos has had the season of his career and he will be returning to Chelsea. What does that mean, guys? Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez. Will he stay? Is there a world where Santos requires to start every game, continue with this trajectory in his career, but he's in the same squad as Enzo Fernandez? No, I don't think it happens, guys. So that's one. That's speculation. We did mention Enzo to Real Madrid as a possibility. It looks more likely than ever if we're going to cash in on any players. Yeah, we move, guys. And he was also asked before we move, will you spend big again? He fixed the question by saying we don't see it as spending, we see it as investing. That's okay. We understand that's what they've done since they arrived at Chelsea. But it seems they've reached their threshold. They're not going to buy anymore. And across the interview, he was mentioning that he wanted to build a team of young players that grow together, even referencing a book called Capital something.
We're early on doing kind of 7, 8, 9-year contracts, because we really wanted to make sure that we could keep the team together for a long time. If you read a book called Captain's Class, right, it talks about the 15 best teams, in the world. And I think one of the things that you see, is in order to have a really good team, you ultimately need stability, within the team, within the environment, and the only way that comes is through time. But I think we've set it up to be able to benefit from that.
I'll put the link of the interview in the description. Just remind me if I missed that, guys. And you guys can check out the interview and also get your perspective on our owner's thoughts, our chairman's thoughts. But yeah, we have a final before the final. The actual final, of course, in the Conference League, but another final in a different form as we take on Nottingham Forest and Nuno Espirito Santos. How do Nottingham Forest play their football? Oh, these videos excite me, guys. But what we know, a few stats, are that Nottingham Forest are the team in the Premier League with the least passes executed. Yes, guys, less than teams like Southampton, Leicester City, Ipswich. Nottingham Forest sit bottom in terms of passes executed in the league. Isn't that crazy? That's madness, in my opinion. Like, how do these guys get it done so often? The focus required to sit in that low block that they sit in. If you're playing against Forest, most of the football is going to happen in more of the defensive third, beyond the halfway line, just in front of their 18, if anything, and then they try to win the ball back and then counter on you. They don't even press you high if the ball is in the back line. So Forest wait for you to execute the first few passes. They try to block off passes so they can intercept the ball. Chris Wood won't even approach any man. All he's doing is playing off the shoulders of your defensive pairing or your back three. That's Chris Wood's job. And then when they win the ball back in the midfield, of course, they have individual brilliance as much as the systematic brilliance. Morgan Gibbs White will look for a pass, whether it's over the top, whether it's into the wingers. At the moment, they don't have Callum Hudson-Odoi, and they're lucky because Ola Aina just returned from injury. So they've been playing Dominguez alongside Ilanga on the wings. And then Ola Aina, of course, returns to right back. Ola Aina is a threat because Ilanga would drift across the line and try to create some gaps so Ola Aina can get into those spaces on the flanks. And then he becomes an attacking threat of sorts. However, most of the time, Ola Aina is in defensive positions, and Elanga's there on the right wing waiting for the passes. So it's that low block. It's a low block system, one that's given us headaches across the season. I think we figured it out a bit more. How do Chelsea win this game? Shots from distance. I see our fullbacks being heavily involved in any goals that we try to get or any goals that we actually get in this game. Cucurella from distance, Reece James from distance. Let's shoot. Cole Palmer is an intelligent player. That's how you can exploit this low block, because if you get the ball beyond their defensive four, at least you can create something. You need a player that's available in those positions. As we said, Nottingham Forest try to block off those passes, so it's not the easiest thing to do. They're trying to get you on the transition. Yeah, it reminds me of Leicester City in the title-winning season. All the teams were swaying towards possession football. Let's keep the ball, And then this season, Nottingham Forest say, we're going against the norm. We're going to play without the ball. Wait for you. Watch you, if anything, and then pounce on you, which is what Leicester did. Balls over the top. Get it into Mahrez. Mahrez will find Vardy, and we're going to score. Fortunately, they had players like N'Golo Kante, world class, even in that season, who would intercept in the right moments in the low block, 4-4-2, and the ball's moving. And that's what Forest have done. You could say they'll go into it's a 4-2-3-1 that goes into a 4-4-2 because Ilanga becomes the second striker next to Chris Wood. So that's it, guys. But yeah, I think we win this game. I'm confident, guys. I shouldn't be as confident as I am because Forest have the same thing to fight for. They're also in the top 6 right now, and they'll want European football, of course, undoubtedly. Chelsea hold the fate of other clubs as well. If we win, Brentford, Brighton, or Fulham could end up in Europe in that 8th slot. So let's just get into the top 5 and get the business done. We focus on ourselves. That's the key in football. Win your game. All teams will be playing at the same time, so you can't really monitor unless you're checking your phone at halftime to see score lines, but that doesn't mean it's full time. The games should end. Football is played in 90 minutes. So yeah, guys, I'm excited though. I think the boys will deliver. Midfield battle, we don't lose that midfield battle. Moise Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, or Lavia, but I think we go with Enzo Fernandez next to Moise Caicedo, our South American pivot, and then Cole Palmer being intelligent and drifting along the line, trying to cause headaches for the defensive players in Elliot Anderson. Alongside him, it looks like Sangare is now starting over Yates for Forest. So we'll see. Predictions? No, not yet. Should I 3-1 Chelsea? 3-1 Chelsea. You get me? Day of the Europa League final. Not sure when this will drop, whether before or after the final. Should we predict that as well? I was going to flip a coin because I feel like it's the most 50-50 game out of all the UEFA finals. It's really a 50-50 one. People are saying our game against Betis is 50-50. But no, guys. On our day, we need to beat Betis. Let's be honest. We'll be there for that pre-match, of course. But I'm going to go just to be a rebel because they haven't done it. And the way the underdog has gone this season, teams breaking 50-plus year droughts, I think Spurs might do it tonight. I'm sorry, United fans. I know you guys, I have some loyals amongst y'all, and I appreciate y'all, but Spursy boys might just do it, guys. We move, y'all. Blessings.